I've said
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
before, and I will say it again. Our next two games are the Patriots this week and the Texans the following. I think we're going to beat the Patriots, and we're going to get destroyed by the Texans. Either
What?
team will be lucky if they score 20.
How about this? How about this, Jose? If you were right about if you're right about Zach Wilson and the Jets beating the Broncos, I will personally treat you the Chick-fil-A. How about that?
I think it's going
Yeah.
to be close through the majority of the game, and then around fourth quarter, that's when the Eagles will pull away.
I'm a prophet! What? Prophet! Prophet! I prophesy! I have sight! I see!
Possible.
All right, uh, a week long break we took there. But life happens, so
Yep.
it's
Can't control life.
we're gonna skip college stuff for this week because I honestly can't even remember the stuff that's happened over the past 2 weekends. Uh, but let's go ahead and take a look at the stuff we missed in the NFL, mainly the upsets that happened in Week 7. We'll start with Lions and Ravens. What the heck happened there?
Just the lines looking like the lines of old. Like just no defense, no offense, just an absolute meltdown. Ah, if I'm a Lions fan, yikes. That's all I got.
I don't know what happened to them in this game, man. Like Goff's stats are not great. He was 35 of 53,
Yeah.
284 and an interception. The yards look all right, but no touchdowns.
Yeah, it was just an abysmal day for the Lions. A very forgetful day that is. Just nothing went right that day. Like the fact that they scored one touchdown in the fourth quarter towards the end just is like, ugh.
Was it a
You better hope it.
touchdown? Oh yeah,
It
a
Yeah,
was. It was Gibbs'
rushing
first
touchdown by
touchdown.
Gibbs.
yeah. I'm not sure if
Which
they just missed. They must have missed the extra point or they missed a 2 point conversion. I'm
that's
not
the
They
only
sure.
missed the
thing I
two
can
point.
see.
Okay,
They
okay,
missed the 2 point. Yeah.
Yeah. But
gotcha.
still, it's not like they had like no offense because 13 catches for 102 yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Gibbs had 9 for 58. Laporta had 6 for 52. But Gibbs also was averaging 6.2 yards a carry for that whole game. They just couldn't get
Yeah,
to
it
the end zone.
was. They got stopped multiple times on fourth down. The Lions are one of those teams that like to go for it on fourth down, but the Ravens stopped them, I think, twice at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna see
Yeah.
here if I
The
can look through the
the
plays
one
and
thing
see.
I'm looking at the one thing I'm looking at stats wise for this game is the turnovers. Jared Goff had two fumbles in this game. Both of them were lost, and it looks like, and the Ravens hardly threw the ball to the other team. So, well, okay, they Lamar Jackson lost one fumble, but
Yeah, he lost
in
one
the
fumble, no interceptions though.
yeah, so Lamar Jackson was just on point in this game, and honestly, that was surprising considering how he's played so far this season. So if this is his breakout game of the year, well done, bravo. You beat a really talented, good Lions team, but yeah, for the Lions, just yikes.
I don't even know if you can say that's just beating him. I think that's humiliation at that point.
Yeah,
Honestly, if I'm the Lions, like we've been playing good all year, like I would just like chalk it up to a bad day because I don't think that's like indicative of like their future. I feel like they'll bounce back and still be a good team. It
I
just
think so
wasn't
too.
it wasn't their week.
Yeah, just a bad day for the Lions, but for the Ravens, a very very good day.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of what people were expecting from the Ravens when they added some receivers and they changed like their offense scheme and all that, and their defense got back healthy. Like people were expecting them, I think, to be closer to what they were this past weekend. Because like before in past weeks, they haven't looked too great.
yeah,
Seems like they
they
got their
have it.
act together a little bit in this one, starting to find
Yeah,
their
agreed.
stride.
So
Going back to Paulo, what you said about them going for it on fourth down, I see at least 3 attempts here on the record for their drives. One in I think the second quarter here, where they only went 27 yards. Now I don't know where that drive started, but going 27 yards and then going for it on a fourth down and losing it, you're setting them up to score at that point. Like it's hurting you
Yeah.
more than it's helping.
I mean, like 9 times out of 10, I would say it's like if anyone's gonna go for it on fourth down, like the Lions are a pretty good team in that like category. It just the Ravens defense is no joke, and so you can't just keep
Yeah.
doing it against the Ravens of all teams.
Yeah, the second time it was the first drive of the third quarter. 11 plays, 69 yards, nice. And immediately turned it over on downs again. Granted, they got farther, but you gave it back to the Ravens, who then came back and
Yeah.
got a touchdown in 4 plays.
I mean, to be fair though, like if they had taken all those field goals, like it wouldn't have helped them win. Like maybe the game would have looked better, like stat wise and score wise, but I mean, they still would
Yeah,
have gotten
it would not have helped
beaten
them.
pretty soundly.
It would not have helped them win, even if they did get field goals on that. Just bad all around from the Lions for the way they were playing. Who knows though if the Ravens are going to continue on that or if it was just one good day. That remains to be seen.
yeah, who knows? I guess we'll find out later this season.
Yeah.
Will been awfully quiet.
I don't think he said anything since I joined.
No,
Yeah,
just
I don't
very
think so.
observant. I was just going back and looking at the Lions and who they played, because like Paulo said, I mean, we could chalk this up very easily to a bad game. I mean, you started off hot, you beat KC, lost to the Seahawks on OT, beat the Falcons, beat the Packers. I mean, you've been on a win streak, a 4-game win streak prior to coming into that Baltimore game, and beat some okay teams. I wouldn't say anything too hot besides KC and the Bucks, who were having pretty decent offense. But it was just, I could say chalk it up to a very bad game. But we'll see this week. They take on the Raiders Monday night, so we'll see if that trend continues,
And
or if it
I'm
was
looking
just a very terrible day.
I'm looking to see if the Ravens can continue with the momentum they built off this game. Just keep playing the way they were, and I think they might do fine.
I mean, even when their wins didn't look as good, they were still getting wins, like generally.
Mhm.
So I think that this is gonna be a little bit of a self-esteem boost, and everyone's back healthy. Odell's back out there, Mark Andrews is back out there. So if they're gonna be winning in this fashion, it's gonna be now.
And
Yes, I
trade
agree.
talks are suggesting that they may bring in a certain AFC rusher.
Oh boy.
They're at the top of the list to bring in Derrick Henry, supposedly.
Dude, the Ravens would be scary if they had Derrick Henry.
I mean, we know they do have they do have running back issues.
Yeah,
Ever since J.K. went out early, game 1.
yeah,
So
game 1.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's move on to the second big upset for the week. Bills and Patriots. My God, what happened?
I have no words for this game because I honestly didn't see this coming. Like, I mean, Josh Allen, he completed the game with completing 27 passes out of 41, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He was sacked only once, but it's just you look at those stats, you're like, that should be enough to win the game, right? No. Somehow the Patriots just played their A game, I think, and they just found a way to win. And the Buffalo Bills, I think they may have just underestimated them or just uh simply overlooked them after last week's win over the Giants. Although then again, they didn't play too good against the Giants last week. So,
This
I don't know.
this was just rough for the Bills. Like I saw something like the week before that I wasn't really believing, and now I kind of do, saying that the biggest weakness of Josh Allen is he plays to the caliber of the quarterback that he's playing against.
That kind of makes sense because looking at the stats for both quarterbacks, for Mac Jones, he had 25 completions, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 1 sack. That's awfully similar
And
to
I have
Josh
to
Allen.
mention that was 25 out of 30.
Yeah,
Those are good stats for Mac Jones, honestly.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
got to be one of his best games of the
Yeah,
season.
meanwhile, Josh Allen, 27 of 41, 265, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
I think part of the problem
Yeah.
is like whenever you're watching these games week to week, you start to like get preconceived notions about teams that maybe you shouldn't have. Like people are probably underestimating the Patriots a little bit. Like the Patriots have been dog water lately, but week 1 they almost beat the Eagles. And then people have the Bills on this like high pedestal, but last week they barely beat the Giants. So like
hmm
it's not it is surprising, but maybe it shouldn't be as surprising as we make it out to be. We just get a little, I don't know, get a little comfortable thinking that the Patriots are terrible and then the Bills are great.
Yeah.
I have to say, does this mean the Saints are better than the Bills?
No.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, at least we shut the Patriots out.
Yeah,
This is
well,
true.
the Raiders also beat the Patriots, but we ain't putting the Raiders higher than the Bills either.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far to say that we're better than the Bills because we have our own issues to deal with. But we'll touch up on that later. But
The Bills just do not look as strong as they once were. They look like they're starting to fall off unless they just go on a winning streak here. It
right,
doesn't look good for them.
But it's weird because they had a like a rough start to the season in week 1, losing to the Jets, and then they did go on a winning streak, and then now they're back down. Like they're so wishy-washy. Like you don't know
like
what Bills you're gonna get.
this is the third bad team the Bills have played this season so far, and they have played to their level and have either nearly lost or they have lost. So it's not looking good for the Bills. And at this rate, they're slowly losing favoritism to win that division, in my opinion, with the Dolphins being on a high note lately. So, but the season's still young. Anything can change in the NFL. So I guess we'll see what happens as the season progresses.
It was a rough thing to see. I just remember being flabbergasted at what was going on. But
Yeah, and
here. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna for fancy wise, I know I went up against my brother this past week. I know he was very upset with Josh Allen, considering those stats alone. So
Did you blame him?
sorry, little bro.
It'd be rough. But let's move on to the final like big upset of the week. 49ers and Vikings.
Now this was shocking.
Paulo, to quote what's his name? James Draws. 49ers. What happened?
happened?
Like you don't when you look at this matchup before the game, you don't expect the Vikings defense to even hold down the 49ers because the Niners just have one of the best offenses in the NFC, or at least one of the top 5 offenses in the NFL. But the fact that they held them down to 17 points just blows my mind because the Vikings defense has been garbage this entire season. And the fact that they just completely turned things, well, in this game particularly, they turned things around and shut down the Niners. Yikes.
It especially baffles me that this was a primetime game and Kirk
Oh, yeah.
Cousins performed really well.
He did. Stat wise, he completed 35 passes out of 45 for 378 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. That's still good stats in a close game as it was.
Big Kirko in the
And,
house.
and this is all without Justin Jefferson too,
Mhm.
who I believe will still be out for another 2 weeks if I'm correct, on the IR. So,
Meanwhile, on the flip
man,
side, Brock Purdy, not a great game for him. 21 of 30, 272, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
yeah, either he was having an off night or the Vikings defense just made life miserable, and that's usually not the case. But in this case, they did make life miserable. He just could not. It looked like he was just out of sync in this game. I don't know. I'm not sure what got into his head, but nobody on that offense for the 49ers looked in sync. So who knows? This might have been an off game for the Niners, but then again, well, actually, no, I was about to say they had back to back, but I forget that they lost some starters from last week's game against the Browns where they
Mainly
lost
Debo
to.
Samuel.
Yeah,
Debo,
and
McCaffrey's still not 100%, and Trent Williams on the O line wasn't in this
yeah,
game.
so so with this game, the Niners clearly weren't playing 100%. So I wonder if the injuries were having an effect because clearly, you, if we've seen this Niners team healthy and functional, they will be a powerhouse. But the fact that they're playing 90 and 50% and showing out like this is concerning.
Yeah, and this isn't even like, I'm not trying to discount the win that the Vikings got here. Like, the 49ers may be without some players, but so are the Vikings. Like we said, no Justin Jefferson, no number 1 for Kirk Cousins to target, and still found a way to move the ball and win this game. I think it kind of evens out with the injuries. I know technically there's a little more on the 49ers side, but McCaffrey was still in there, and he didn't do terrible. He could have done a lot
Yeah.
worse.
Like
He was,
Jefferson is the Vikings' best player who wasn't
Yeah.
in, and Debo, like McCaffrey, probably is there. Well, at least on the offensive side, McCaffrey's probably the best player the Niners have, and he played. So
Let's be real
I
though.
would say it evens out.
Even without Debo, you still have a lot of weapons on the Niners.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
Ayuk,
you
Kittle.
still got more than most teams.
Yeah. Still, it was surprising to see the Vikings perform so well, especially
Yeah.
after, like we said, their defense has not been great through these first 7 weeks, and they somehow managed to come away with, what was it, 2 interceptions? Here, let me see if I can pull up the teams.
Yeah, they had 2 interceptions on the Niners.
And a fumble. McCaffrey
And a
fumbled.
fumble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was far by the Vikings defense best game yet of the season. But the question for the Vikings, of course, is can they replicate that and be consistent with that? Who knows? Because who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know who they play this week coming up, but
We'll get to that later.
exactly.
Well, I think that's all the upsets, just
Yeah,
the 3.
That's
or
all
the
the
big
big
ones worth
ones
mentioning.
Yeah, that's all the big things worth mentioning there. Let's see. Moving on to this week, week 8. Tomorrow night's game, Buccaneers and Bills. I don't know how this one's gonna go, honestly. I don't know what
I
to
don't know either.
expect.
Just like we mentioned, just like you, Jose, mentioned a moment ago with the Bills and Patriots game, if Josh Allen continues to play down to the level of the other quarterback, in which
Oh
in this
god, it's
matchup,
2 Baker Mayfields.
yeah, this might
Yeah.
be the ugliest matchup for Thursday Night Football yet.
I don't
We-
know about that. That might be pushing it for Thursday
No,
night.
not the ugliest one. Not even close, but still.
No, by far. No.
I want to instinctively say the Bills should smoke them, but after the last 2 weeks, I can't say that.
Me neither.
I don't know if I
I
can say
s-
the Buccaneers
Yeah.
either, especially after that game against Atlanta.
No, I'm still gonna say that the Bills will win, but I don't think it'll be. I don't think
They-
it'll.
But you can't use it. you can't use Atlanta though because, the Texans lost to Atlanta, right? And then they still come back and they beat the Saints. So I mean, to say that just because they lost to Atlanta means they're gonna lose to the Bills, it's just not.
Well, I mean, they lost to the
I mean, there's
Lions
weird
too.
games. No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but you still went out, and you beat the Vikings, beat the Bears. You can't really count that one. I mean, it's the Bears, for God's sake. They're having a horrendous season. And you go out and beat the Saints. And I mean, you don't just beat the Saints, you beat the Saints in their own division, at home.
Yeah.
So to say just because they lost to Atlanta, they're going to lose to Buffalo after we saw Buffalo lose this week and to the Jets. So are we saying that Zach Wilson is superior than Baker?
No,
Is
but I
that
am
what we're
saying
coming down
Josh
to?
Allen is superior to Baker.
I mean, by
On
far, but I
paper,
mean,
on
Baker's
paper,
not
he's
also
supposed to be Paulo.
right.
No,
But
no,
at the
no,
same
no,
time,
no, no,
Baker
no, no,
isn't
not even on
having
paper.
an atrocious season either, though. It's not like Baker's having
No,
a horrendous season. He's having a
no,
much better season than he did in Carolina
Yeah.
and Cleveland.
yeah, I agree. Baker's having a good season, and the Bucks are having, generally speaking, a good season compared to what we thought they might
Yeah.
do this season.
I mean,
But I
they're
think,
3-3. They're
yeah,
right behind the Bills. The Bills are 4-3. Tampa's 3-3 with the bye that they just had. So I mean,
yeah,
we're pretty close, honestly.
I just can't see the Bills having 3 bad weeks back to back. I feel like this will be one of their good weeks. Especially after the loss to the Patriots. They've probably been embarrassed by
Well,
that
this
all
wouldn't be.
week.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could call that very slight win over the Giants a bad week.
Yeah, I'm calling it a bad week because that should have been a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I'm kind of slowly losing faith on the Bills. So normally I would have a lot of high faith due to their recent success, but due to how they've been playing the last 2 weeks, I have to go with the Buccaneers in this matchup. I I don't know if this might just be a gut feeling. I hope I'm wrong because I think the Bills are definitely better than the Buccaneers on paper, but just struggling against back-to-back bad teams is just unacceptable for the Bills. And for the Buccaneers, yeah, sure, beating the Falcons, that's not nothing home to write about. But at the same time, the Buccaneers have been able to be at least competitive outside of their one and only blowout game, which was the Eagles game a few weeks back. So I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers by 3 in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm losing faith in the Bills, but I also don't know if I trust the Buccaneers. It's weird. I don't know if I can trust either of these teams. It's probably going to be close. I don't see it being a blowout by any means, but like
No.
I'm gonna do the reverse and take the Bills by 3.
Fair enough.
And Paulo, you gave yours, right?
I didn't give a number, but I'm taking the Bills. I'll take the Bills by 3 to 7. Somewhere between that area, I don't think it's gonna be like 2 touchdowns or anything, but a touchdown maybe at most.
Just leaves Will.
Yeah, I think as much as I want Baker to beat the Bills, I really do, just because the season he's having. Josh Allen does, pretty well in prime time. Baker not so much. Baker's kind of like Big Kirko when it comes to prime time, kind of just spits and sputters.
Hey, you can't
So I
say that
think I'm gonna
about
have
him
to
anymore.
agree.
Not after
Hey,
not after Monday night.
spits and sputters
That's
better
one.
than spits and
That's-
swallows.
Hey, whoa, hold up.
Continue.
PG-13,
Easy.
Paulo, Jesus.
Hey, that's what she said.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Jose on this one. And Paul, I don't think it's gonna be more than a touchdown, so I'm gonna have to say in that 3 to 7 range for the Bills to win it. But that's barely winning it, if that.
Is this game in Tampa or in Buffalo?
It's in Buffalo.
Oh, then yeah. I'm doubling down on what I just said then.
I'm not at all. I can't double down on it. only because they barely beat the Giants at home by 14, and then lost to the Jags in London. I know that's not a home game, but they were the home team, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. I think we're gonna spend a minute on this. Colts and Saints.
All right,
Ah.
I have a tirade of problems with the Saints right now. I will try to minimize it, but I'm gonna start with just the offense because that's right now my biggest concern. The offense is not working. The coaching staff is not working. I'll touch up on that in a second, but let me focus on the offense first. Like, I don't know what is the misconnect with Derek Carr and his receivers because it's pretty evident what's going on that field that they're just not in sync. They're not communicating. Nothing is working. What the hell is going on? Because it's just every week I watch this Saints offense operate, it frustrates me because now I don't want to blame everything on Derek Carr. I like the guy. I think he can be a good quarterback for us and just a temporary good quarterback until we draft a new one. But at the same time, you're missing a lot of wide open throws. Um, there's this guy I follow on Twitter who does a play-by-play uh replay, so to speak, and he pinpoints out some wide open receivers. I can't tell you how many times Derek Carr has missed a wide open Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Taysom Hill,
I can tell
etc.
you one crucial one right now. That last drive when they were like in the red zone, the first play when they were in the red zone, if Carr had looked to his left, Kamara was wide open. Now he may not have got a
Hmm.
touchdown, but with the momentum he could get before he made contact with that first defender, at least the 1 yard line.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's just one of many missed opportunities. And of course, the one obvious one from the last Thursday night's loss to the Jaguars was the missed game time touchdown by Foster Moreau. I mean, that's not his fault. I mean, sometimes that happens.
We
It's
can't put that all on him. That's one dropped
exactly,
pass when he
yeah,
had done pretty consistently good for the majority of that night. Just
exactly.
it
It's
was a
just one
fluke.
mispass, so I'll let him slide on that because it happens. But at the same time, our red zone offense has been trash. For some reason we might be able to move the ball a little somewhat effectively down the field. But once we hit the 30-yard line of the opponent field, we shut down. We start calling the stupidest play calls ever. We're just not connecting well. I
And I've
just
noticed what it
absolutely
is
hate
too.
this offense.
I've noticed what it is too. Every time we get close enough, it's always straight to the end zone. It's nothing in between.
It's like we keep taking shots in the end zone. Like, for example, the Texans game we lost to the last drive of the game, 4 straight deep passes to the end zone, all for incompletions or an interception. Same with the Jaguars game. We went not exactly the same as, but there have been numerous plays where that did happen. There'll be like 4 consecutive plays where it's a deep shot or a mid shot to the end zone, all incompletions. It, this offense infuriates me, and I absolutely hate everything about it.
Um,
So,
I want to mention one specific thing, and like you said, it's not all on Carr, but some of it, like this specific thing, I think is. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this. The one play where he went for Olave way downfield and
oh
the ball
yes,
landed out of bounds, and he starts chewing out Olave. Carr, that's your fault. That is 100% your
yeah.
fault. He did nothing wrong there. That thing was coming down out of bounds. He can't, Mr. Fantastic stretch his arm and grab that.
Funny that you mentioned that play because Michael Thomas himself even said on Twitter, and I quote him, that Derek Carr was not supposed to throw to Olave in the first place. He was supposed to go to Taysom Hill in the outside slot, or even to Michael Thomas himself on the inside route. He had one or the other. Olave was basically the distraction uh, out route, and Carr just screwed it up by throwing it 10 yards out of bounds. It's so, yeah, Carr might be frustrated. He might be telling him to run, but dude, that's on you, bro. You overthrew that. And you're not supposed to be throwing a Olave in the first place. the another prime reason that that this offense just straight up sucks because he's out of sync with his receivers and and his play calling's trash. I could go on, but that's just the short rundown version of what I have in this.
That's the rant.
Yeah, I just hate this Saints offense to death. We need a change drastically, and it needs to happen now.
Coaching. Start
Yep.
with coaching. But for this game, I don't honestly I don't know if I can take the Saints. Yeah, our defense is good, but the Browns defense was also supposed to be very good, and look what happened last week.
Yeah,
Kept on the
I
game.
love.
That's what happened.
Everyone knows I
Wait,
love
what,
my
Paulo?
Saints.
I said the Browns won that game. That's what happened.
38 to 39.
Yep.
It was a very close matchup.
They
yes.
let the Colts score 38 points and had the
So
lead
be
for
it.
the majority of that fourth quarter.
So be it.
And the Colts offense isn't amazing, but it's not terrible either.
It really is not. Like they've had their moments where they play really good offense, and of course they've had their moments where they play some mediocre offense. But obviously, this Colts team is not as bad as we thought they were going to be early in the beginning of this season, and they've obviously proved a lot of people wrong. But at the same time, they're still trying to figure things out on their end of things. But I honestly just think they're going to be too much for the Saints to handle, even on defense. So and I love my Saints to death. I usually like to pick them first, but I can't pick them this time around. I have the Colts winning by at least 10.
I'm not going to go 10, but I'm going to have to say Colts by 3.
Yeah.
I must say, though, if Anthony Richardson was playing, 10 easily.
Yeah. Now, unless the Saints defense just finds a way to manhandle Gardner Minshew, who's a Colts starting quarterback now for probably the remainder of this season, I just don't see it happening. I hate to say it. And plus, our offense, as you already heard the rant, is just so bad right now. It's just the things I would rather watch is paint drying on a wall or go outside and watch a car get built to construction from scratch. That's how bad it is.
I'll take the Saints in this matchup. Partially because
be
I want to be different, but also we beat Gardner Minshew when he was quarterback of the Eagles last year. So is the Colts a better team than the Eagles last year? I don't think so. Our defense is still
Are we a
the
better
same.
offensive team than the Saints last
Hey,
year?
I don't care about. No, are we worse? Not really. Our defense is the same, so I'll take the Saints.
Fair enough.
Will?
I don't know where to begin. No, I'm just gonna keep it simple. I think with it being an at-home Indy game, Indy is one of the, in my opinion, one of the harder stadiums to win at. It seems like for most teams, even when Peyton was there, and even after Peyton has moved on, it still seems like a hard place to win at. One of the harder stadiums, and just the way the Saints are playing, I don't think they're just not on the same page. No one is on that offense. I mean, you got Michael Thomas back finally, a healthy Michael Thomas for a season so far this season, and you still can't win games. You went out and got Derek Carr, who was supposed to be better than Jameis. That's why you went out and got him and started him over Winston, and you still can't win games. Or you're struggling to put drives together. I don't have faith in him in this game at all. Maybe if it was at home, I might have more faith in him, but I think the Colts by at least a touchdown.
I'd love for them to surprise me, but I don't see
Same.
it for this week.
I just don't have that faith in them.
Yep.
And that's having having the Saints as a second favorite team for me. I just still don't have that faith for them to win it. I wish I did, but it's not there at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, my expectations for this Saints team is at an all-time low. And until we fire the coaches that we currently have, this team is not going anywhere, I hate to say.
And it may not even be like the head coach. It may not be Dennis Allen. It may just be the OC.
It might just be him, who knows, but I would like to see what happens if we change play callers, give the play calling to someone else on the team, give them a shot and see if anything changes, but honestly, I'm just so fed up with how this Saints offense has been rolling under Pete Carmichael, the Saints' current offensive coordinator, for all these years. It's just gotten stale, old, and clearly nothing is working. So I think it's just time to move on from him. And I don't know if the Saints will do it this season or after this season, but it's got to change as soon as possible.
Yeah. Oh God, we've already been recording for 35 minutes. We've only made it through like 3 games.
Oops.
All right, let's move on. Texans
Yes.
Panthers. What we got, Will?
Well.
Oh boy.
I don't know. No, I have a lot of high hopes for this game, especially the way Houston's been playing, especially here recently before the bye. It's starting to look like a more complete team, it looks like, on both sides of the ball. Got a lot of starters back over the last couple of weeks, especially on that offensive line. Panthers are 0-6. I have hopes that we can make it 0-7. I really do. But I still have a slight doubt that they go into Carolina and just somehow fumble this game. I mean, they did it against Atlanta. You know, they went in and that game, I think they were just high on themselves. You know, the way they had been playing, they went in there holding their heads a little too high and just completely fumbled that after coming off of, 2 consecutive wins against the Jags and the Steelers and just took Atlanta for granted. And I'm hoping that's not the case coming off of a Saints victory at home and a bye week. So I think this is going to be really good. We have defensive players back. Offensive line is solid again. We have, receiving core is looking better. More
Is Tank
connections
Dell gonna be back
between
for this one?
Stroud. He was limited at practice today, but he was, so that's always good to see. I was looking at that list earlier. So he is limited, but, they're still not counting him out as of now. Obviously, that can change depending on how the rest of this week goes. My only concern is the run game, which has an opportunity to get better. Like I said, you've got all your starters back in that line. That left side of our line is terrible. Laramie Tunsil, we spent all this money on him, and he seems to be the one that just continuously commits penalties game after game, and not just 1 or 2. I mean, you're talking 3, 4, 5 penalties a game coming from him, which is insane to be as highly paid as he is to commit penalties like that on a week in and week out basis. So that's my big thing, is to get that run game going. You have Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary just splitting carries right now, 50-50 carries, which is a good duo, but that line has to get some push up front, and I think they can do it this week against the Panthers. So I'm going to go out on a big limb, and I'm saying they beat the Panthers by at least 14.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a big number. I don't know about that, but I do
That's a
think
big,
the
that's
Texans
big,
are
man.
gonna win. Yeah, I'm
That's
taking the
big right there.
Texans,
That's
but
all my
not by
faith.
that much.
I'm
I'm gonna take the Texans by 10 because I totally hear Will's doubts on playing the Panthers on the road, and as a Saints fan, we know how that feels because we do not play well in Carolina for a living, and they're tough to beat at home, regardless of what their record says. So, and their defense has been okay, but it's not been great. Their offense is just mediocre at best. But I have a lot more faith in the Texans in this matchup, just based on their quarterback play. Their receivers look good. Run game, as Will stated, is still trying to figure things out. Defense has playing a lot better. So I have the Texans up by 10 in this matchup. I just don't think the Panthers can hang tight with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same. Texans by 10. This is I think this
And
one's
I mean,
gonna.
I'm just looking back at. Go ahead.
I'm just saying I think this one's gonna cement the thing of Stroud being the definitive better of the two quarterbacks taken in the draft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've got number 1 versus number 2. I mean, this is a big game, but I mean, just looking back at their games, 24-10 Falcons win, 20-17 at home against the Saints. I mean, they kept it close but still gave up 20, 27-37 against the Seahawks. Another home game within a touchdown, reasonably with a 2-point conversion against the Vikings, 21-13, and then just getting absolutely blown out by the Lions. And the Dolphins just back-to-back weeks on the road. So those home games do have a tendency to be just a smidge better, but still not enough to even come close to a win.
So are we all in agreement on this? Texans?
I believe
Yep.
so.
All right. Moving on. Cowboys Rams. I gotta take the Cowboys. I don't trust the Rams.
And it's
Neither
at
do
home.
I.
It's at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys in this. 100%.
I will take
I am too.
same.
Same. And but this one could be another one of those big ones.
Yeah, it could be this
another
one.
big game.
This could be an upset. Who knows? But honestly, I think the Cowboys are just significantly better than the Rams. Yeah, the Rams have a good offense and their receivers are looking pretty good. But I think the Cowboys' offense is just no match for the Rams' defense right now because the Rams' defense is just mediocre at best. So give me the Cowboys by 7 in this matchup at the most.
Yeah. I want to point out, especially the Rams' running back situation is messed up right now.
Oh yeah,
Severely. So
I believe they lost their starting running back and then the backup to the starting running back, and now they're down to like 3 random running backs. One of them happens to be an Ole Miss alumni. Shout out to Zach Evans, but even he's a backup. I don't think he's going to be seeing the
he's on
field
the practice
anytime
squad
soon.
right now.
Yeah, so kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, what else can you do about it?
Yeah, and I also have to point out that I don't know if this is like something that's been going on every week, but in the past couple weeks I've noticed for the Rams receivers, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua, and it seems to be one or the other has a good week. They never have a good week at the same time. Like one of them gets
That
the
is very
focus.
noticeable. Yeah.
But
So I'll take the Rams in this.
here
This
we
is one
go
of those
again.
ones
Wow.
where
Oh boy.
I don't
I
think
was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I knew it was coming. I was
look.
waiting for it. I was waiting for him to say it.
Look.
And I was sitting back because I knew it was coming.
I don't think the Rams are gonna win, but I just have a gut feeling about the Rams. And last week I had a gut feeling about the Ravens, and I still took the Lions, so I can't do it again. I have to just follow my gut. So I'll take the Rams.
So here's the thing. Chris said this is going to be a significant win for Dallas, like it's an assured win. But looking back at their games, I mean, they barely beat the Chargers, 20-17. Barely beat them. You got blown out by the Niners the week before. You blew out the Patriots. Oh, big whoop. And lost to the Cardinals before that. So you're telling me that the Cardinals are a much better team than the Rams are. I find that hard to believe. Very hard to believe.
I still
And
say
then
that one
you
was a
beat
trap
the
game.
Jets and the Cowboys. You beat the Jets and the Giants to start week 1 and 2. Big whoop. Big freaking whoop. You don't have high-powered offenses in those two teams.
I will say
You
though, I
don't.
think the Chargers' offense is much better than the Rams' offense.
I can't even say that. You lost Mike Williams. Yes, you still have, Keenan Allen. You just got Austin Eckler back, trying to get him back in the groove from his injuries. But I think the Rams are a much better offense than they've been playing against. I'm going to side with Paulo on this one, and it's not going to be a big
let's
win.
go.
It's not going to be big. I have faith in what is going on over there because everyone was sketchy about the Rams. And yeah, they don't have a winning record at the moment, but they're close, man. They're 3-4. I mean, that's pretty damn close to 500. They're not being terrible like everyone expected at the beginning of the season. But I think it's 3 points. I mean, your field goal here. I don't think it's anything more. And if it is, great. But I think the way Dallas is playing and who they played says a lot. Because that offense is also struggling. Dallas's offense isn't great. They're great against terrible teams. They are terrible against even better teams. I just don't think it's there yet. I think Dak's mid. Dak is Baker. If we're gonna talk shit about Baker,
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I
no.
agree.
Dak is
Dak-
not it.
Dak is discount Baker. Dak is great
what I'm saying.
value
Dak-
Baker.
In my opinion, Cowboys come after us. Cowboys fans come after us. But Dak is not it. You overpaid for a mediocre quarterback when you could have gone
The
and got
same
Baker
exact
for
thing
much
as
less.
Zeke.
You could have went and got Big Kirko for less, and you didn't. So I think
That's not
Rams by 3.
That's not surprising because, our boy Dak is a Mississippi State guy, and we all know State guys suck, so hotty toddy.
Oh my God, not this again.
Another one we are split on. Okay then. Next up is Vikings Packers. The big question: are the Vikings blasting Creed in the locker room?
I don't know.
If so, then
Wait.
I'm picking Vikings.
I think the Vikings are gonna take this matchup. The Packers are in a spiral right now, and it's like I said earlier this season, like their defense is okay, but their offense is suspect, and they only seem to wake up in the second half, and of course being it being a rivalry game, the Packers while they haven't necessarily struggled against the Vikings in recent memory, the Vikings always put up a good fight against the Packers. But in this case, without Aaron Rodgers there, I have to get the Vikings in this one, and I think they're going to win by 14.
I'm gonna pick the Vikings, but I'm going by 3. I think it'll be closer than that.
I'll take the Vikings. I think that just based on this past week, the Vikings just beat the Niners, and then the Green Bay just lost to the Broncos, so I can't take Green Bay. But yeah, I think it's gonna be, I don't know, maybe a touchdown difference.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The 2 wins the Packers have. You got to win against the Bears, big whoop, and you gotta win against the Saints. Saints shooting themselves in the foot. I know
Yes.
that game had a questionable 4th down call there by Mr. Allen himself, and the Saints only lost by 1. With their issues that they have internally, but
Yeah.
everything else, you lose
Also,
to the
remember
Falcons.
Derek Carr went
Lose
down
to-
in that game.
You
So
get blown out by the Lions. You lose to the Raiders. Then you lose to, Broncos country. Let's ride by 2. Like, you can't have much faith there for Green Bay to do anything.
No.
And the Vikings are, they're down their number 1 receiver, but they're still producing
They're-
offense. They still have
they're
enough
coming off
people to
a big
produce.
win. They're gonna ride
Yeah.
that high.
I think I agree with Paulo on this one. It's not gonna somewhere in that 3 to 7 range, no more than a touchdown with the Vikings winning.
Next up, Patriots Dolphins.
I swear, if the Patriots find a way to beat the Dolphins, I will eat my shoe because there's just no way the Dolphins
hey,
should lose
clip
to
it.
this guy.
Clip it.
Clip it. Well, I mean, the whole thing is being clipped.
It's all recorded. Just pull the receipts.
Oh no, I'm
Oh my-
I'm saying that for future reference from myself in case this actually happens. I'm clipping it and putting it in the next
Yes,
video.
We will Yep. We will upload the video of Chris eating his shoe.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to think that, the Dolphins lose at home. Keep in mind, at home to the Patriots, who are 2-5. Yeah, they barely squeaked out that win in week 2 by a touchdown. But now you're playing at home. You're really firing all cylinders. What's going to be questionable is though, is supposedly Tyreek is dealing with an injury, so they're not sure if he's even going to play this week.
Okay,
So
that I
you're
didn't
going to have
know about.
another team who may be down their wide receiver one. That's still up in the air. Obviously, it's a day-to-day thing, but there's no. This is always a good game. It's a divisional game, right? Between these, it's always one of those that, once again, divisional games. You don't know who's going to win. You think this team will win. Obviously, better record, but you on the other side of the ball, it's divisional. Those games are played a lot harder. But I want to say the Dolphins win by at least a touchdown. But we also know how Tua is when he plays against division rivals. Doesn't always
Yeah.
have his best games.
Yeah, we've
And
seen
if you're
this
going to lose
before
wide
earlier
receiver
this season.
one, yeah, if you're going to lose wide receiver one, and you've done lost, Devon Achane on IR, and you still have Mostert. I mean, can it be more than that? It's possible, but it's going to be hard to believe.
I'll take the Dolphins in this matchup. Yeah, I agree. It's probably going to be around a touchdown, 10 points maybe. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I think even if Tyreek is just like playing through an injury and he's not 100%, I still think that they got that win easily. I say even if Tyreek's out, I'd say it's more like a 3-point game, but I'd still take the Dolphins because Jalen Waddle's a good receiver. Mostert might not be like the hot topic of discussion with Achane coming in, but I mean he's still the starting running back. And then I like some of their like complementary pieces. Like I was a fan of Berrios when he was in New York, and now I like him as a number 3, number 4 in Miami. So I'll still take the Dolphins.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
taking the Dolphins
easy.
as well. By 7 for me. I have Dolphins by 7. But the reason why I keep it low is because obviously it's a divisional rivalry game, as we already mentioned.
I want to say the last one was Dolphins win 24-17. And that
I
was with
think so.
everyone healthy.
That was the score.
I think Dolphins by 3.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Moving on, we should probably try to get through some of these games pretty quick because we still got a bunch left to go through, and we're almost an hour in.
Yeah, well, we knew we were going over an hour this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I don't want to have to process a 2-hour video.
True that.
Giants, Jets. I'm picking Jets.
Yeah, the Battle of New York.
I don't have faith in the Giants.
No, yeah. I think the Jets defense is going to manhandle the Giants, and Zach Wilson might have a good day. I'm not going to say he's going to have an elite day, but he's going to have a good enough day to where they just outgun and not outnumber, but just outperform the Giants all day long. I have the Giants not Giants, wrong New York team. I have the Jets
I'm gonna
by
go
7.
I'm gonna go before Paulo. I don't. Me and Paulo
All right,
might
you
be
don't
on the
want to be
same page here,
influenced
but
by.
he spoke out before me on the Rams Cowboys game, so I'm gonna step out on this one. And I'm going Giants here. They don't have Daniel Jones. It's Tyrod Taylor, right? I have more faith in Tyrod Taylor than I do Daniel Jones, and Tyrod proved it last week that he still has it and has the capability to play. You've got Saquon back. You've got Sterling Shepard. You've got Jalen Hyatt, who's starting to gain some traction now. He's got a little bit better quarterback back there. It's going to be close just because of how the Jets defense plays. They have playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. They really do. But I think the Giants win, and I think they only win by 3. But I have faith because I had faith in Tyrod when he was in Houston, and I really liked him when he was down here, and he was proving himself. But I have faith that he'll take that win away from the Jets.
All right.
Well, you and I were not on the same page because I'm taking the Jets.
Will's the odd man out.
Anything that the Giants have, I think the Jets have just as good. Like Tyrod Taylor might be a better quarterback than Zach Wilson, but Zach Wilson's on an upward trajectory and has been doing better. And then obviously Darren Waller is like a great tight end. But I mean Conklin ain't too bad himself. But as far as like you could say Saquon, but I mean Brees Hall is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then receivers, I take the Jets receivers and I take the Jets defense over New York Giants. So I'll take the Jets in this matchup.
You let me down big time.
And they play they have the same home stadium, right? The Jets and the
Yeah.
Giants. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
home game, away game,
Literally
it doesn't
split.
matter. That doesn't really impact anything.
That's why I didn't even bring it up.
Yeah.
So I didn't even say at home.
Yeah, so
They
I'll
both
take.
share, what is it, MetLife?
I think it's a close game, but I'll take Jets.
Jaguars Steelers.
Give me the Jags. Jags all day. I mean, yeah, I was right about my prediction last week with the Steelers beating whoever they were playing last week.
Rams.
Rams, thank you. But I think the Jags are still significantly better than Steelers. Sure, they kind of barely pulled away from the Saints last week, but I think the Jags just have a better run game and they have a slightly better defense, and obviously a better quarterback. There's nothing to write home about with Kenny Pickett for the Steelers quite yet, but I have I give me the Jags all day for this matchup. I have them winning by at least a touchdown.
I'm gonna say Jags by 10. You two awful quiet.
I mean, that
Good
was
luck.
just a quick answer. Just spit it out. No explanation.
I
Just
don't-
Jags by 10.
I don't really think I need much of an explanation for it. The Steelers are struggling hard this year. Yeah, they've got a couple wins here and there, but it's not to the same caliber as the Jags.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. I mean, yeah, the Jags do seem to have a better offense than the Steelers do. I mean, Kenny is not the answer by any means. Even with having Deontay Johnson back on top of George Pickens, and like me and Jose discussed yesterday, Najee is just way too inconsistent in that backfield.
Yep.
They got to start using Warren more. He's a little bit more explosive than Najee is, but they're just not using him, I don't think, in the right way. But that Steelers defense is looking good this year. Yeah, they had a very miscue game against the Texans that no one expected coming out of nowhere, but this is a home game for them, and most teams do have a tendency to do better at home, especially them with that crowd that they draw in over in Pittsburgh.
This is true.
But even with that being said, it's that offense that's gonna hinder that team from doing anything till they make some changes back there in the backfield and on the OC side of the ball. Just they got to figure things out. I think it's Jacksonville, but I think it's only by 3. I don't think it's going to be anything special. I think that defense is going to hold them, but Jacksonville's going to get some big plays going with Evan Ingram and ETN, who's been doing really well this year, just like he did last year, picked up where he left off. But I don't think it's more than 3 with that defense.
Leaves Paulo, if he is even here. Why does he always
Probably,
disappear for the Jaguars stuff? This is like the 3rd time.
I have no idea.
He is fat ass. He is eating.
Eating that Chick-fil-A.
Most likely, yeah.
Well,
most likely.
while we wait on him, let's move on. Falcons Titans.
Yes.
Oh God.
I gotta take the Falcons. I gotta take the Falcons in this, man. I can't trust the Titans.
Me neither.
Especially with Tannehill out this week. Tannehill's out. Supposed to be out. There's not a definite he's out yet, but they are preparing Will Levis to start this week over Malik. Yeah, Vrabel's already come out and said that Will be the starter. They'll split snaps, but Will is going to be the starter if Tannehill is actually out for the game. They've already started to prepare him starting today in practice.
I might keep an eye on that game next. I want to see how Levis does.
Yeah, Kentucky product. But yeah, for the Falcons' sake, I would assume Bijan Robinson should be back for this game because he apparently disappeared not even mid-game last week. Apparently he was sick to the stomach from what I heard, but for some reason did not report it right away. So I would imagine he starts this game. So in terms of running back, they should be fine. But Falcons, I think, should single-handedly easily win this one because I just don't have no faith in the Titans. They're just too inconsistent. They're and injuries aside, they're just not good enough. And the Falcons, while I still don't think they're that good of a team quite yet, despite what their record says, and despite that they're on top of the NFC South right now, I have to give this one to the Falcons. I'll have them up by a touchdown.
The Falcons.
Yeah, Tennessee's just too inconsistent here. Yeah. Derrick Henry's not his old self. I mean, age, injuries, and
Yeah.
he's splitting snaps with Tyjae Spears. Not only that, once again, Tennessee has decided to trade someone to the Eagles. It's just mind-boggling how they continue to send players to the Eagles. They've sent Kevin Bynard over there, safety. For whatever reason, same thing they did with AJ Brown. It's just they keep sending players to that one specific team, And there's talks on the market that Henry could be gone, Hopkins could be gone as well. They're trying to shop him around. I mean,
Crazy,
Tennessee
man.
seems to be in this mode.
It seems
where
like
they're just going to rebuild. They're trying to start a rebuild process. It seems like so. It's like they've kind of given up on themselves, or Vrabel's kind of given up.
It sounds like they're imploding just based off of that information alone. And if I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, I would be very upset right now.
100%. 100. He's kind of pulling on Bill O'Brien in a sense. Just, hey, we have these players. Let's get them out of here. Let's get some draft capital. Let's get something back. But I think Atlanta wins by at least a touchdown.
Agreed.
Just the way they have been playing lately, especially offensive wise. Desmond Ritter's not the greatest, but he has some weapons. He's making some things happen, or more so, his receivers and are making things happen, and his tight end and finding a rookie running back like Bijan is just happened to be working out for him.
Yeah.
Still no Apollo?
Still no Paulo.
Still no Paulo.
2 games behind.
Munching down on them chicken strips.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Lynn, let's see here. He'll just have to give his pick for the ones that he missed. Like, rapid fire. Eagles Commanders, I don't think we're getting another overtime game. I think the Eagles are taking
ain't
this
no
one.
way. This game is in. Okay, cool. It's at the Commanders. Yeah, there's no way this is gonna be an overtime game. I think the Eagles' offense is starting to slowly figure things out. I mean, AJ Brown, that connection is deadly with the Eagles right now, and being an Ole Miss product, shout out to him, hotty toddy. He's clearly the wide receiver 1 for the Eagles right now, and the connection between him and Jalen Hurts is just, like I said, deadly. And he's already on 3 games in a row where he's over 125 yards a game. That's just insane. He's like nearly averaging 150, maybe more a game. It's crazy how good he and Jalen Hurts have established that connection going. So you get that if that continues, the Commanders have no shot winning this game. And honestly, I don't think they have a shot anyway. I have the Eagles up by at least 10.
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles by 7.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about with this one. Not much of a competition. And here we go, another team, the Commanders, looking at trading away, one of their big defensive players in Chase Young.
Yeah. I'm not sure
they've
why
talked
they would
about
do
it.
that.
He's not off the board. They've told teams he's available for the right price. Obviously, they're looking for a first round or at least a second round pick for him, plus something on top of that. So, I mean, when you start giving away those pieces, it's concerning. You know, you have a star athlete, why give them away? But
Yeah, I don't like that.
you know, these defensive ends are coming by, and maybe they feel like they can get someone better. I find that hard to believe. He's young. He's very athletic. He reminds me of Miles Garrett a lot. The way he plays when he's healthy, you know, he did start off his career a
Yeah.
little, you know, injury prone, but it's gotten better. You know, more consistent. But I think there's no question about it. The Eagles by at least 10.
What I miss?
You
There he
have
is.
missed Jaguars, Steelers,
Jaguars.
Falcons, Titans.
Falcons Titans. What did y'all pick for Falcons Titans?
We all picked Falcons because we can't trust the Titans.
Ooh, but can we
And
trust the
Tannehill
Falcons
is
though?
I trust them more than
yeah,
the
but
Titans.
Tannehill is rumored to be out this week, and they
That
are
is true.
starting Will Levis if that is the case.
That is
And
true.
Vrabel has already said that.
I'll take the Falcons then.
But like we talked about with them, is Derrick Henry and Hopkins are on the trade board, and they could be gone before this week's game. You never know. You know,
That's
just
true.
like that.
Tajay Spears has been doing well though, so I
Yeah.
mean, even if they trade away Derrick Henry, they do got a solid
Mhm.
back. But yeah, I think Tannehill being out, yeah, I gotta take Falcons for that one.
Eagles, Commanders,
And
Paulo.
then we just finished up. Yeah,
Eagles and Commanders, is that the one?
Yep.
Commanders.
in
Yeah, I'll
Washington.
take Eagles.
Division rivals.
Like I know the Commanders played them well in week 1, and then they obviously dethroned them from undefeated last year. But I'll take the Eagles anyway. AJ Brown's just on a roll.
He really is.
DeAndre Swift picking up some steam as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Browns, Seahawks.
Ooh,
I think
this is
this is
gonna
going to be a game to watch this week. I think this is
I
going to be
was
the
just-
one for some reason. I have a feeling because it was last year as well.
Yeah,
I believe it was. They played last year, and it was a game to watch.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you are. I think this could be a really good game to watch. Seahawks can move the ball pretty well, and the Browns have been able to run the ball really well, regardless of who's at running back at this point. Now, of course, quarterback for the Browns will be kind of a question mark considering they don't have Deshaun Watson this week. I don't know.
PJ Walker's
PJ
been
Walker.
doing pretty good though in his
They
absence.
just signed
Yeah.
him. Well, they sent him back to the practice team, and they just re-signed him off of the practice squad.
Yeah. So, matchup wise, this is going to be a tough one because this might be a toss-up game. Both teams have shown a lot of promise. They both 4-2. Defense wise, I think the Browns have a better defense, so I'm going to take the Browns just because they have a slightly better defense.
My main issue with taking the Browns in this is they are down to 2 running backs out of 4 that they've had this season.
That's true.
Ford is
doubtful.
gone. Yeah,
Kareem's a starter, but he's still questionable with his thigh. So
Ford, they said should be out 1 to 2 weeks, according to what they have here. They're banked up, but as we saw against the 49ers and against the Colts, even banged up, they can score.
Yeah.
This one's tough.
Yeah, that's why I said this is just one of those toss-up games. It could go either way. The Browns could take it. The Seahawks might take it. You
The
just don't know.
Browns are on a streak here, so I'm going to go Browns by 3.
this one is really tough because I don't feel confident saying either because I could easily see either of these teams winning. I feel like this is one of those games that's gonna determine like one of these teams could potentially miss a wild card spot if they lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
Someone
I
else
feel
go
like Paulo
first.
does right now because I agree. Well, it's down to me and you. But I agree with Paulo because, you know, that Colts defense isn't anything to brag about, right?
Nope.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
putting up 39 points against them is you know, big whoop. right. The thing was against how many points they put up against San Fran's defense. And I do feel like these two defenses between the Browns and the Seahawks is a lot closer, because the Seahawks have been, they've had their moments where they've slipped up, let some big plays happen, but they've also had their moments where they have stopped the ball, they've stopped the pass, stopped the run, and you're kind of seeing a little bit of that old Legion of Boom in that secondary that they've built. And if they can do what San Fran did and have PJ turn that ball over with interceptions, he threw 2 interceptions that game and still squeaked out a win. If they can do that and put pressure on him, especially with that backfield with, you said, a questionable Kareem Hunt and a 4th string running back, I can see the Seahawks squeaking out a win. And I'm saying that by a field goal that they're going to win. But it's going to be a close game from start to finish, in my opinion. I think it's going to be super close. It's going to be a very defensive game back and forth is what it's going to end up being.
Watch us all be
Yeah.
wrong and it's a blowout.
See, that would be
and
surprising.
it possibly could be. That's the thing. It could be. You're right. Because one defense could just have a terrible day, or one person gets injured. That team captain, we'll take Myles Garrett for the Browns per se. He could be injured or have a terrible day, and that's a major piece of that defense, and it's game over.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Lions. The Lions were touted as a good defense, and then they just got ran all over by the Ravens. So, I'm gonna agree with Will. I'll take the Seahawks, not because I'm confident that they could win, but Metcalf is gonna be back, and Ford is probably not gonna play, and they're gonna be down to Kareem, who's not 100% himself as the starting running back. So, just for that,
And a
I'm
4th
gonna.
string running back.
Yeah, just for that, I'll take the
You know.
Seahawks barely. If Geno has a good game.
It
Yeah.
just seems like the theme for this NFL season so far is the lack of running backs. And with a lot of these starters going down early, out for the season or out for extended period of time, we're seeing a lot of these backups play, and you're seeing a lot of variety of backups. I just wanted to point that
This
out.
goes to them not like the whole thing of them not wanting to pay the running backs. They're seeing how valuable they are.
Yeah. For
Yep,
real.
that's what I was going to go at. The NFL has been built into the last 5 years about how big tight ends and receivers are to this game, and they've kind of forgotten about the running backs. Every season, it just seems to get worse and
But
worse.
all these injuries.
And now they're to a point where,
Yeah.
now they're to the point where they're getting injured. They really haven't paid them either, and you're not so focused on getting running backs. The running backs are getting drafted later in the draft. They're kind of last to be picked up in free agency, kind of last to be traded for come deadline. They're kind of being put on the back burner, and it's kind of biting everyone in the rear when these running backs are going down and they're scrambling. You're on your 4th string running back, and you're like, man, this is crazy. Who would have thought?
On the other hand, I don't see it changing though, because you're gonna pay big money to your number one guy, and then you're gonna get J.K. Dobbins out for the season. Like, that's just gonna make them not want to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially like you take a guy like Mostert, who started out, and then you can draft a rookie in Achan who's just, you can pay less and will just be the best thing since sliced bread. So unless the NFL has like some actual like changes on how you can sign running backs, I don't see it changing.
Neither do I.
Yeah, but,
With that being said,
we are split on this one, so moving on. Ravens Cardinals after this week. Ravens.
oh, definitely Ravens.
Oh yeah.
I think the Cardinals is just losing their touch. There's just nothing to say about it. They had early fight on, but now they're just losing their groove. They're just not complete. Even with Kyler Murray coming back into the picture, it's just too late for them. Ravens easily will whip them. I have them by at least 3 touchdowns.
Someone throw more coal in there. We need more steam.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean,
This man said 3 touchdowns.
ah,
I don't know about that because let's not forget. Hold on, let's not forget what they did to Dallas at home, right? They
True.
beat Dallas at home, even with Dallas coming off of 2 hot wins to start the season. They put that out real quick. And I'm not saying they're going to do that against the Ravens, but at the same time, you can't just completely discount them either. Because I think Dallas came in that game thinking, they're it, they're the best there is, and just forgot
Trap game.
fundamentals and just completely lost that, right? But I think Ravens win, but I think it's by about 10 points. I'm not going 3
Yep.
touchdowns like Chris. That's insane. But I'm going to say about 10 points.
Chris with the
I'll give it
21
to
again.
Ravens. Someone else
21.
gotta bet him for this one because I'm not gonna do it. One of these days he's gonna win, and I'm not gonna like it. I'll take the Ravens in this matchup I'll put a 2-touchdown maximum on it, up to 14 points. I think the Ravens are the better team, even if the Cardinals have been, scrappy and putting up fights against people. I think Josh Dobbs didn't have a very good game last week, and the Ravens had a really good game last week, and just based on that, I would take the Ravens offense and defense over the Cardinals, even if the Cardinals have been playing up to their competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna still stick to my guns. I still think 3 touchdowns. So, and of course, y'all know the drill. If I'm wrong, y'all know what to do. So,
The fish.
yep.
Beat you with the fish.
All right.
Anyway,
Next up's Chiefs Broncos. This one, the first game they played this season was very close.
yes.
It was low scoring.
I kind of expect this to be close again, honestly, being the Broncos at home, even though they still suck. But just watching that first Chiefs and Broncos matchup, I just think the Chiefs will probably find a way to struggle against the Broncos again, but still find a way to pull away from the Broncos. Unless Taylor Swift is in the audience, then maybe the Chiefs will put them up by 3 touchdowns, but I don't think
It is
she's coming this
statistically
time.
proven that if she is in attendance, Kelsey goes off, and if
Yes.
not, then he's average.
Yes. So I don't know if she's coming or not. So I'm gonna still say Chiefs, but I'm gonna say only by a touchdown because I thought for sure the previous matchup they would win by at least 2, but they didn't. They only won by 9 points, I think, something like that.
It's like
I forget,
8 to 19 or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, give me the Chiefs by a touchdown, but I think the score is gonna be really low. I think it's gonna be a very defensive battle, much like last time, but the Chiefs are gonna pull away.
Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs in this matchup as well. The thing with the Chiefs and their divisional opponents is that the Chargers can play the Chiefs well, the Broncos can play the Chiefs well, even the Raiders on occasion can play the Chiefs well, but the Chiefs are just the better team.
Mhm.
And even if it is a close game, the Chiefs always squeak out wins against their division opponents, so I'll take the
Yes.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one because it's forecasted for snow in Denver for this game. Yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking earlier. There's forecast of snow moving in on Sunday, so that's definitely going to be a hindering. Chiefs are on a 6-game win streak, not having the best offensive luck. Trying to find it with the rookie and make some connections. I mean, they brought back Mecole Hardman, 2 weeks ago, just coming off of a pretty decent win off of the Chargers at home. I think this game will go better though. I think it'll be by at least 2 touchdowns, just like against the Chargers. I don't have that much faith in Denver, to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
And if Taylor is in attendance, we know what happens.
That's true.
Yep.
Kelsey for 100+ yards.
Hey, I've been loving that.
Hey, no.
I need her
I
to go
hope
to
she
every
ain't there.
game.
She needs to stay home.
No,
This
you
man's
Shut up,
trying to
Paulo.
get Denver a
me.
win.
Beat you in fantasy this week.
Shut up.
You do not
Aw,
have the Taylor
Jose, you
Swift
don't
on
want
your
to shake
side.
it off?
You're
Shake-
not gonna shake off this little
No.
ass.
Boy,
Oh no.
even if you win, we're still 1-1. This would be the second time we went against each other, and the first time you got whooped.
Nah, you better get whooped. You shall see.
Oh
We would
Lord.
be even in that case.
So be it.
Moving on, we've got 3 games left. Bengals 49ers.
Hmm.
There's no definite answer. There's no
Yeah.
definitive answer in this one. There's really not. The way the Niners have played the last 2 weeks,
I want to say
Brock
though,
looking lost as can be.
Brock has a concussion.
He
Does he
does.
really?
Oh, so he's out for the week.
He's in
So
concussion
Sam
protocol.
Darnold.
Yikes. Okay.
So never mind. So this changes things. I didn't know that prior to this. So
I literally
that changes
just saw
things.
it like 10 minutes ago.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Even with CMC, even with George Kittle, Ayuk, and that defense, I still don't know if even Sam Darnold can be dropped into that position and make things happen.
Yeah,
See,
and
Yeah.
I was already leaning Bengals. Like, there's just something in my gut. Like, for the last 2 weeks, ever since the Bengals got hot against the Cardinals, and then
Mhm.
the
He's
Niners
got to
lost to the
win.
Browns, I was like, wait a second. And so yeah, but I like if Brock doesn't play and it's Sam Darnold, I don't think Sam Darnold is that bad, especially with those weapons around him. But I think the Bengals are getting this one. The
yeah,
Bengals are back.
Bengals are starting to get to their old selves. Plus a week of rest. Joe Burrow is going to be, if he wasn't back to 100% before, he's back now.
Yep.
Get ready. That man might go off.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna
The
choose the
Bengals
Bengals
team.
in this.
Okay, my bad.
I was gonna say I'm gonna choose the Bengals in this matchup. Just basically from the facts that the Niners are just playing injured right now. They're playing a backup quarterback most likely this weekend. And while the defense of the Niners is good, I think I think Joe Burrow is gonna just go off this weekend. They're not gonna blow him out, of course, but I
Do
think
we know if they're getting T. Higgins back?
that's a
T.
good
Higgins
question.
is not questionable anymore. He will be there.
Yep, that's another
Okay.
weapon added to the arsenal for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick the Bengals by the minimum of a touchdown. I would love to go a little higher, but it is the Niners. They're still good. They still have a good defense, and they still have weapons on offense, even with the backup quarterback. But I just think the Bengals would just have a better offense and will have a heyday against them.
Yeah, I'm picking Bengals by at least a touchdown, I think.
So I'm gonna pick the Bengals. I also say a touchdown, but on the other side of the ball, if you can drop Sam Darnold into this offense and they pull out a win, let's just say they do. Is there an assumption to be made that Brock Purdy being dropped in there is just, it's just the way that offense is. Like you can drop any quarterback in there and squeak out a win with the weapons that they have.
Is it a
Is he just
system?
is it just a system quarterback? Yes. Is it just the system and not the quarterback himself? Even though he did go out and have 8-0 in regular season, not counting the playoffs last year, just 8-0 in regular season. Would that be safe to say if Sam Darnold goes in there and gets a win with this team?
It depends on how
Yeah.
Sam Darnold gets the win. If he has a good game and it's not just their defense, then I wouldn't say that that's an overreaction. Because it's not like Jimmy G is some great quarterback either in terms of the upper echelon of quarterbacks, but I mean he wasn't too shabby in San Fran.
Yeah, and we see they're not doing too hot without him in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But I think we're all in agreement. Bengals.
Yes.
Yeah. I never thought we'd see the day this season where it was just all of us against the Niners. The Niners just kind of, I don't know, they've broken down a little bit.
Yeah, it's just the injuries I think are just
Injuries are
derailing
killing
them right now. Yeah.
Next up, though, we have Bears Chargers for Sunday Night Football.
that's
What
just
in the
way
name
too
of
easy.
God is this?
Talk about a mediocre primetime game. This is going to be very one-sided. Very
Yeah.
one-sided. Even with Tyson, Tyson probably getting another start this week. Still going to just be one-sided. This should be an all Chargers game.
It should be, unless the Chargers just lay a goose egg and just let the Bears beat them, like whoever the Bears played. Who did the Bears play last week?
I believe it was-
Raiders.
yeah, Vegas.
Raiders. Yeah, just like the Raiders let the Bears beat them. So, but
that was two rookie quarterbacks going at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think the Chargers just should easily beat them. I'm not going to say 3 touchdowns, of course, but as much as I'm tempted to, but I think they should win by at least 10 in this matchup. The Chargers offense is just too good. I think with that Keenan Allen from what I'm trying to blank on the quarterback's name. What's the dude's name?
Herbert?
Herbert.
Yeah,
Herbert.
Justin Herbert. The Justin Herbert, the Keenan Allen connection is deadly, and that Bears defense is still not anything to talk about or even write home about. It's just abysmal. So give me the Chargers all day, up by 10 touch.
10 touchdowns.
touchdowns.
What the
10
heck?
touchdowns. 10
Jeez.
touchdowns. This man is
10
talking
points.
about.
Excuse
This
me,
man
10
is talking
points.
about This man's talking about a Miami Denver game over here.
I meant
Lord
10
have
points.
mercy. I think
Also,
I'll agree with Chris on this. Yeah,
10
that 10-point
touchdowns? You
game
agreeing
for
with
sure.
10
10
touchdowns?
touchdowns. He agrees.
Yeah,
Confirmed.
my boy Justin Herbert is about to go
Yes.
off. No,
Yes.
maybe with Mike Williams in the lineup, I would say 10 touchdowns. No, but I think they do win by 10 points here. There's no reason, especially keeping it that close with with the Chargers' last few games. Besides that second half against KC where it just got blown open, they kept it very close to these better teams. So they should be able to turn around and reciprocate what happened to them against a much lesser team in the Bears.
Yeah, I'll give it to the Chargers by 10 to 14 points. I think the Chargers do have like one of the top offenses in the league. I think the Bears will be able to put up some points on the Chargers because the Chargers defense isn't anything to write home about, and the Bears offense didn't look like anemic last week. But yeah, I still say no. Even if the Bears put up like 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns on the Chargers will still win 10 to 14 points.
I'm going to go a little less. Chargers by 7.
Why's that?
Chargers defense is, like we said, nothing to write home about. And the Bears have, they've been putting up some points lately. So I think they're going to continue that, but it's still not going to be enough to compete with the Chargers offense.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Finally, for week 8, we have Raiders Lions. I think the Raiders are about to get the full wrath of the Lions. I think they're about to be the punching bag.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are gonna be getting that lube this weekend coming
Jesus,
up.
Chris. PG-13, God.
That's
That is
pretty. That's the best
PG-13.
PG-13 as you can get.
Yeah.
You're allowed one swear in PG-13. We still haven't used it, so.
This is true. This is true.
But yeah, seriously, the Lions. There's no way they have back-to-back goose egg games like they had with the
Especially
Ravens this
not
past
against the
weekend.
Raiders.
Yeah, definitely not the Raiders. The Raiders defense is just mediocre. Their offense is missing their quarterback, even though that their starting quarterback isn't much to talk about either. But even still, there's just no way the Raiders can keep up with the Lions. Giving the Lions by 10 points in this matchup. The offense is clearly better than the Raiders. This is gonna be their bounce back game for sure.
I agree. I think it's going to be the bounce back game. I'd give it to the Lions by at least 2 touchdowns, maybe more.
Same here.
The Raiders just like Jimmy G isn't in. We saw how they looked against the Bears, and the Bears defense isn't good. So I have zero faith in the Raiders like unless Detroit is like struck with a meteor. I don't think that the Raiders can win.
All of a sudden, unless
That's that
God
whole
smites
bus.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless that bus just gets delayed 12 hours, they're not
Yeah, they
doing
just
this.
don't make it.
They just, yeah, unless they just don't make it to the stadium somehow, even though it's in Detroit. Don't ask me how they don't make it to that stadium. They just don't.
Yeah.
But there's no way. The rest of the league is about to be looking in on this game, asking, telling Detroit, hey, that's enough already.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is
But
gonna request a trade after this game.
What
no.
what they don't know is secretly Jimmy G took a plane there 2 days before and has broken Goff's knees with a
Oh,
lead
yeah,
pipe.
No, he's just standing outside of the apartment with the bat. No, Detroit should definitely win this by 2 touchdowns, if not more, depending on how hot of a start they can get off on, especially after that terrible loss last week. Because it's obviously gonna be lingering in their minds. We just got it handed to us, right?
They're gonna use
But
that
it
as
being
fuel and just steamroll the Raiders.
And I believe that 100%, especially with it being a home game, because that Detroit crowd is just insane when they're at home. So at least 14, if not more.
Yeah.
I'm saying my boy Sam Laporta is going off for at least 80 yards and a touchdown.
I could see that happening. Honestly, he's
I could highly see that happening.
Well, with that, I think that takes care of all the games for this coming week.
If I can quickly,
wow.
if I can quickly make this one side note, this would be like no more than a minute. If for anyone who's a basketball fan that watches the NBA, especially for the New Orleans Pelicans, they had completely destroyed Memphis tonight. 111 to 101. That's destroyed in Pelican terms, obviously. So go Pels.
Off topic, fish.
Oh God.
Off topic as well. Into the segment. Just gonna say it. Us Rangers fans are on
I
a
was about
high.
to say.
It has been
Yep.
12 long years since we have been to the World
Wow.
Series, and here we are. Never would I have
Congratulations.
thought that 2 teams 2 seasons ago that had 100 losses plus each would end up in the World Series 2 years later. So I'm not gonna say this is gonna be an easy World Series. I do see it possibly going 6-7 games between both teams the way they played through the playoffs. But obviously, the Rangers are gonna bring it home. It's theirs this time. I don't think they lose this one. They lost back-to-back World Series in 10 and 11. I think we've learned from that and finally bring one home.
Yeah, I'm not guaranteeing a win or nothing there, like you said, but I'm riding with the Rangers on this.
If not, you will
Yeah.
be smacked with fish. It is already in the
Yes, you will be
text.
fished.
Hey,
Well,
Yes,
if we all
fished.
get an off topic, then I would like to use mine. We took a week break last week. But shout out Chili's waitress if you made it, if you found us, if you remembered our name on YouTube.
Yes.
yes.
We have not forgotten.
Shout out to Chili's, baby back rib.
Uh, Paulo, would
With
you like
that,
would you
we
like to
bid
take
thy
us
adieu.
out? Take us out with some Creed, Paulo.
Baby back ribs.
Oh, that's
Now I gotta
Chili's.
switch genres.
Take us out with some Creed. In honor
I
of
do
the
not know the-
Rangers.
I do not know the lyrics.
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Bruh.
I'll make up a song.
With arms wide open.
Rangers.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.